welcome back to Obsessive Prepper AZ. We are on our week 5 of our $10 a week food challenge. And if you're new to the channel, if you haven't seen this series, what we are doing is building food storage up for $10 a week. That's right, $10 a week. It was a challenge given to me, and this is for people that have never prepped before, or you preppers out there that just need a little reminders, and maybe you didn't even think about it. I learned so much from everybody else, my subscribers and comments, and I like to give that information back out to you. I'm hoping I'm helping you out with this $10 a week challenge to help you think about what you need for food storage, what you might not need. We may have people out there that have dietary problems, that they can't have these certain items, or let's just say you do not like Spam. Change it up. Use a different product. What I'm trying to show you is how to build your food storage up that you can have shelf-stable food, sustainable, that we can build our preps up 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, couple months, and then more down the road. And we started with the basics. If you haven't seen my series yet, I highly recommend you to go check out weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will give you an idea of what we've got here. Your simple ingredients of flours, sugars, baking soda, baking powder, oils that we can make breads from, muffins from, oatmeal that we can add to our muffins, cookies. We have pastas that we can have different meals with. Instead of just filling up a 5-gallon bucket of one style of pasta, we're building different things, because I truly believe in an SHTF situation, or if you lost your job, if all you were eating was the same foods over and over again, you're going to be miserable. Many people out there, and I've had several subscribers, truly believe in the 7-week meal process. And by doing that, you're only worrying about 7 different kinds of meals. And so if you're trying to build up a year food supply, you would, for one day of that meal, you would purchase 52 jars of sauces and 52 boxes of pasta, and then one day a week, that's what you eat. And you plan around 7 meals. I'm not that way. I'm not going to ever be that way. I like variety. I've always liked variety. So this, again, is just individual needs and desires, wants. Absolutely, in an SHTF situation, you're not going to give 3 hoots about if your products are GMO rice, GMO corn, or if all you have is a bunch of rice. All you're going to be thinking about is eating and consuming. And that can of Spam that you don't normally eat, you probably will be eating. So in my $10 a week challenge, I'm trying to build up meals and add proteins in with your carbohydrates. I have quinoa in here that is an awesome source of carbohydrates and better for you. I have 15 bean soup mixes. So we're building up our preps with beans in different varieties. So I have a Cajun, dried Alfredo mix that you can make. And with your food stores, your dried powdered milk or your evaporated milk, you can make the sauce for the Alfredo. So these are things, by having these ingredients, we have now built up a decent food storage, so we can now amp up our quantities of certain items. But I'm always going to be throwing in a can of protein somewhere. I also, in several videos, show you how different ways to store your product in FoodSaver bags. You can check a video out on how to store in FoodSaver bags. If you've watched my series, I'm very big on mason jars. I like mason jars because rats and bugs can't get into them. And so I believe the first investment in purchasing your mason jars, in purchasing a FoodSaver, purchasing your attachments, check these videos out, because I show you so much that you can do with a FoodSaver. But by having a FoodSaver, you can definitely make your product shelf stable and no rodents or bugs can get into it. But if you do not want to store in mason jars, you want to do FoodSaver bags, Mylar bags, check this out. Out in my stores, I have this bucket for Rice-a-roni. So come along and I'm going to show you what I've got. Okay, so I have my bucket out. Now going into the 5th week of our 10 buck a week challenge, what do I have here? I have 5 boxes of Rice-a-roni for 98 cents a piece. I have a can of turkey spam. Again, flavors, variety. I've got 1 more can of tuna, and I have 2 pounds of lentils. This actually comes out to exactly $10.01. My plastic tote. We talked about FoodSaver bags, stored in mason jars, but I've also got Mylar here. So if you look at my other videos, my food storage room, I store all sorts of ways. And I get comments of people saying, well, you need to do it this way, you need to do it this way. You need to watch my videos because I do it every way. I do firmly believe in the FoodSaver, but for my long-term food preps or certain items like this, I do use Mylar. I do have buckets. So in my Mylar here, I put these in the bag on 312. And what I do here is I say Rice-a-roni, 1 box each. I have 2 pounds, and I have a Mexican, a fried rice, a pilaf, a wild rice, and a Spanish rice. So what I have done is I've taken them out of their boxes and I've made them shelf stable. The reason why I put my Rice-a-roni in smaller bags is because I figure once you open this up, you've only opened up, let's call it a week worth of food, and to keep bugs out of. And so I break things down, I put them into smaller packages, and I'm able to open this up when my stores run low, put it into my shelves, and I rotate this. I did bunches of this in 2012 and I'm still using this. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and show you what I've done. Also, I have 4 packages left into this bin. And now that I'm running low, Rice-a-roni is one of the things that I'm going to think about redoing and putting back in my buckets and updating the stuff that I've used. All right, getting into my Mylar bag here. I'm OCD if you have not noticed, and what I do is probably extremely overboard, but it's what I do and it's what worked out for me. In my Mylar bag, I had an oxygen absorber, just in case I didn't get this sealed correctly. Now I have my Rice-a-roni, and it is plastic wrapped, and the reason why I did plastic wrap, saran wrap around it, is I didn't want any pointy edges to puncture holes into my Mylar. And especially if you're in a moving situation where you're going to have to move your food preps around, you don't want things to get punctured. So I just use saran wrap. I get an industrial box at Sam's Club or a restaurant supply, and I just wrap the heck out of my products before I put it in the Mylar. We have 5 bags of Rice-a-roni. Now, my FoodSaver, when I use it, it sucks the oxygen out. But again, because I'm OCD and I overdo everything, I also put an oxygen packet in just in case it didn't seal properly. Or, I don't know, because I'm a freak. Let's just say that. So I have my fried rice. I wrote the date on it. My rice pilaf, my Spanish rice, my wild rice, and my Mexican rice. Now I use these all the time and I rotate them. So am I worried because I put these in FoodSaver bags in 2012? Absolutely not. It's 2019. It's been exactly 7 years. Another tip that I do, if I put them in, I write down how much water. We all know that if you make a Rice-a-roni, you use like 2 tablespoons of butter and you brown it, or olive oil. And then, but the one thing I was concerned about on each package is how much water to add. And so I went ahead and wrote that down at the bottom. So this is where personal preference comes into. Do you want to store something like the Rice-a-roni this away? You can leave it in on the boxes. My problem with Rice-a-roni is in the box, it's loose rice, and so it's not shelf stable because bugs can get to it. And by having it in FoodSaver bags, no issue. I also wanted to show you that I've had people ask, do I dry can things? heat to kill the larvae off, one thing or another. As long as there's not any oxygen present, your food is going to be perfectly fine. The bugs aren't going to grow. Now let's just say you open it up. They could start hatching. I doubt it. But you're going to open it up and you're going to go ahead and cook it. And if there's anything in it, you're going to eat it. Just consider it extra protein. Now where Rice-a-roni is loose in the box, suddenly salad isn't. And I showed this on my week 4 challenge where I purchased and I put in a mason jar suddenly salad. Now your suddenly salads, you could definitely keep them on the shelf. They're not going to be rodent free, but they will be pest free. Now when I put my pasta in this jar, I went ahead and cut the label out so I know what I have. I put the directions on the back. I put the month and the year I did this. Also, I went ahead and cut a hole into the pasta package and the season package so I could get all the air out of my jar and the packages, because there's still a little bit of air left in, but by doing this, you're removing all the oxygen. So your decision, do you want to leave it in the box? Do you want to do it this way? Do you want to put it in FoodSaver bags? Okay, I think I covered Rice-a-roni completely on storage and what you might want to do with it. For my 10 buck a week challenge, I'm doing my 5 boxes of Rice-a-roni, my can of tuna, another protein, my Spam, and my lentils. Now going back to the Spam, there is a ton of flavors of Spam out there. This is turkey, so I can make a meal with this. I can cube it. I can mix it in with one of my boxes of Rice-a-roni or some of my rice or my pasta back here. You could have a turkey Alfredo by using Alfredo sauce, your white rice, and cube up your turkey Spam. Spam has so many different flavors and varieties of Spam anymore. There's a teriyaki Spam. You could cube that and make a teriyaki stir fry with Spam. So thinking outside the box. Now, for all of you haters out there of Spam, think about another protein that you like that you can store. I'm only giving you suggestions. I'm going to go ahead and get my lentils in a jar, suck the oxygen out of them. Now, lentils are an excellent source of complex carbohydrates. They're high in fiber, and 1 cup of lentils will give you 230 calories. So again, think about variety. Now, you may not like lentils or your family doesn't like them. Think about different products that you can put in your food preps to make different meals instead of the same thing. But I always say, purchase what your family eats. I know in an SHTF situation, if you hate rice and that's all you have, you're going to be miserable. I know you're going to eat it, but your mind's not going to be there because you're going to be miserable. What you need to do is store the food that you will eat. So here is our week 5 of our 10 buck a week Food Preppers Challenge. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. Have a blessed day. So going back to options, now I showed you how I stored rice 7 years ago in my FoodSaver bags. But then another option for us, I'm going to individually wrap each of my Rice-a-ronis with plastic wrap. Tuck in my ends and wrap those up. Couple things you've got to think about. By putting them in a FoodSaver bag with an O2 or with your FoodSaver, you're literally sucking the oxygen out, so it is air-free, what will make a longer shelf life. But also, FoodSaver bags are expensive, so you could also use pint-sized jars to store your Rice-a-roni. Now, by doing it the way I'm doing it right now, we're not free of oxygen, but we are making it shelf-stable, rodent-free. We're putting it in a Mylar bag, which is dark, and we're going to store it in a dark, cool place. So that's a positive by doing it this way, if you don't have a FoodSaver and all you're using is Mylar bags. I have my Mylar bag, and I'm going to go ahead and get the boxes inside. I went ahead and put 3 on their sides this way, and I'm going to stack the other 2. Now, God willing, I've got enough room for my FoodSaver bag that I can actually suck the oxygen out. Okay, there I go. Now, the only other thing I could have done was put O2s in this and sealed it out. But I think we'll be perfectly fine by just storing it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 2019 on this. I will put it in my bucket, and we've got it stored. This is another difference of storing, is by keeping the boxes, you've got a much bigger package than versus taking it out of the boxes and storing it in your FoodSaver bags.